appreciate it.
Trump making mega use of his time in our nation's capital, as Grady mentioned, not only meeting with business bigwigs, but convening Republican lawmaker love fests on Capitol Hill.
There's tremendous unity in the Republican Party. We want to see borders. We want to see strong military. We want to see money not wasted all over the world. We want to see just success for our country. And there's one thing in common. We want to make America great again. We want to make our country great again. We're a nation that's in decline. We're a declining nation. We're a nation that is being laughed at all over the world. We have a leader that's being laughed at all over the world. And we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast.
Let's bring in one of those lawmakers who spent the morning with President Trump, Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us. I have to imagine that Democrats are losing their mind right now. It's like, we did fake Russia collusion. We've impeached him twice. We tried to kick him off ballots. We've convicted him. And Donald Trump is unifying the Republican Party. Tell us about the meeting, what you experienced today on Capitol Hill.
Most certainly. He's obviously in great spirits, but, even the president was pointing out the whole flaw in the Democrats' tactics to constantly try to convict him and indict him. He was actually joking and saying that every time he received an indictment, his poll numbers went up. And I think that what you're finding is, even nationally, obviously record-breaking fundraising for the president. I think blowing the really doors off of any fundraising ever reported. But that's all from many first-time donors. And what we're finding is the American people obviously are very much so focused on the economy. And while Republicans are really backing the president's message on how to fix this, obviously wanting to fix the issue with what's happening at our southern border, Democrats are trying to make this about abortion, and everyone and their grandmother knows that that's up to the states to decide, not the federal government. And so I'm very excited for November.
Instead of a chaos agent, Donald Trump came across like Captain Kumbaya with all of these Republicans showing up and looking at, and you were there, but looking at Speaker Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and saying, y'all be nice to each other. I think that's the way it went. But the desperation of the Democrats shows up in the language that they're using. Chuck Schumer referring to Republicans as sycophants. And I think it was Madeline Dean from the the Democrat rep from Pennsylvania, who referred to Republicans as traitors. The response to that kind of language.
I mean, the Democrats are having an issue with anti-Semitism and racism in their own party. You know that individuals like Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Nadler actually said, if we don't allow illegals here, who's going to pick the vegetables, which is pretty gross and definitely prejudice. But I would even go a step further in that the Democrats really don't know how to message on winning. And that's exactly why representatives like Jeff Van Drew actually left the Democrat Party. And so, again, we're focusing on the messaging and things that are really going to help people, and that's fixing the economy. And we need President Trump to do that.
All right, Congressman, let's move to this. The House voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt. If Americans are wondering what's actually going to happen to him, well, the answer is, if the DOJ has anything to do with it, absolutely nothing, unless you, Congresswoman, have your way with it. Fill us in on your plan to hold Garland accountable for this contempt.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, for those that might not be tracking, there's actually two types of contempt of Congress. There's criminal contempt, which is referred to the Department of Justice, which is what we just voted on. And then there's inherent contempt. And obviously, I do not have faith in the Department of Justice. I don't think the American people do either. Look at the two-tier justice system that we're seeing play out in this country. And so what I've done is I've actually filed a privilege motion, meaning I can bring this to the floor and call it up myself. It doesn't have to go through committee or through leadership. And ultimately, there's something called inherent contempt. It hasn't been done since the early 1900s, but that would basically give Congress the authority to go and get Garland and compel him to force what we are asking, which is for those recordings. Garland is not above the law. The Department of Justice is not above the law. And unless we really turn this around, we're going to lose this country. And so I'm trying to bring up that vote. I will be serving my colleagues with a letter here on Monday. And if the Department of Justice doesn't do their job, we'll do it for them.
We also wanted to get your take on this. And this could be the year that diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, dies, as Republicans, including yourself, introduce a bill that would ban all DEI programs from the federal government. If there's a way to begin draining the swamp, this is how you do it. What is the likelihood that this actually progresses further, Congresswoman?
I mean, I think that we're doing a great job in gutting it from the NDAA, and I think given the timeline, if this is something that is slow rolled and obviously moves maybe towards when we take back the Senate this November, it'll pass. But again, I have concerns that something like this would die in the Senate, and it's just a messaging bill. But I will say this, you know, we actually made a very good argument for why DEI should be out of the military and any contracted association with the military, and frankly, the Democrats did not really contest it. They actually agreed to let it pass by voice. And so I think that they even realize that this is obviously divisive and racially charged, and really we should be focusing on unity. And obviously in the military, we need to be focused on how lethal we can be instead of focusing on stuff like that.
Well, and again, we want a military, but an American people where we're letting people rise or fall based on merit. How well do you do? How smart are you? How hard do you work? Not what is the color of your skin or your sexual preference, Congresswoman.
Agreed. And I think, you know, if you were going off of what Dr. Martin Luther King said, I mean, what they're trying to say right now in the efforts to push a more diverse community, they've actually alienated many people. And for people like myself who are biracial, you know, I'm half white, half Hispanic, there's a lot that goes into that. What I will tell you is it's extremely divisive, but also to explaining to your children on, you know, this type of ideology that they're pushing, it simply has no place in our federal government, definitely not in our military.
Well, one reason that the Democrats might get on board with this is because the DEI issues, that the restrictions are one of the things that's getting in the way of the build out of these electric vehicle charging stations. This was according to the Free Beacon. To qualify for federal grant funding to build EV chargers, the Department of Transportation makes the applicants engage in intentional outreach to underserved communities. And so you want to know why $7.5 billion has resulted in just a handful of EV charging stations. It's because of that. Final word to you, Congresswoman.
I mean, I would just say that the whole concept of forcing an EV movement to an American people that can barely afford groceries right now, when a majority of polled minority communities, to include Black and Hispanics, don't want EVs, I think it just goes to show how tone deaf this administration and their appointees are. I actually had an exchange that made it to Forbes. I encourage you all to look it over, but we're in the business of common sense, and right now this administration is not showing that.
Tone deaf they are. Congresswoman Paulina Luna, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.